everybody, it's Catherine from Created by Catherine, and it's Tuesday Sewing, and as promised we're going to have a good old look at embroidery, hand embroidery, slow stitching. We're making a start on our 5x5 squares. So I've got my cup of tea, so while I'm just finishing my cup of tea I thought I'd talk supplies, because I think that's something that I think is quite important really, and also, you know, to bear in mind these are many years of collecting you know, supplies of threads and material and stuff, with a few new acquisitions since I've been junk journaling. So you don't have to rush out and get everything all at once. You don't really have to get much at all, as long as you've got some fabric and you've got a few threads and, you know, a couple of embroidery needles and some scissors, you're good to go. But I thought I'd just look at supplies, and also just a sort of bit of an insight really into how I prep things, or how I've got things ready for if I want to do a bit of a slow stitching in my journals. So little baby, this is the little baby one, little baby frame. You don't have to have frames. I've had these a long time, the wooden frames. I find the wooden frames really good for embroidery, hand embroidery. There are plastic frames. I quite like the plastic frames for if we're doing any stuff on the free machine embroidery on the machine. And this is the one in particular that I like if I'm doing free machine embroidery. It's a clipper thing like that. Now I've been known to flirt this clipper across the room. You wouldn't expect anything less, would you? But I really like this one. See, I'm trying not to do it now. So there. I really like this one for free machine embroidery. It's nice and flat, easy to move about. So yeah, but you don't need one at all. Often you'll just see me with a scrap of material, don't you, and I'm just holding it in my hand and sewing along. But I thought I'd use this today because you know, we're just showing a couple of stitches, and I thought that might be easier to do. I always have, well, you haven't seen my button collection, but yeah, I've not got many out today. I always have white buttons, clear buttons, a little stash of neutrals, because you know, they go with most projects, and you just suddenly think, oh yeah, a little button will go there, and you don't want to go through all your stash trying to find just the right colour. Then I always have some neutrals. Sorry, I think I knocked you. Rose's marmalade, lovely lime marmalade. Then this is my mother of pearl stash, and they're all very different, because I mean they're all, you know, natural. They're not man-made, so you've still got a bit of and a lot of these, the mother of pearl, some of them are abalone, the abalone shell. So a little assortment of those, because they're quite nice to put on any project. So that's that. Obviously I've got a little pair of scissors that I try to use just for embroidery, because they keep going blunt if I use them for anything else. I've pulled out a few vintage, seeing as I'm making this project as a keepsake really, to put things in that I'm hoarding. Buttons are no exception. So I know I've got laces and materials and things, but vintage buttons as well that I'm hoarding, and I've decided that I'll put in. Now these are Bakelite, which are very old. You can even see the, I don't know if you can see through there, but you can see the cracking on it because they're so old. So there's a couple of those. There's this one, which I just love the markings on it. This one, look at that, it's got all lovely flower design on that. This one, I'm trying not to drop them as I'm trying to show you. The lovely markings on that with a brass middle. And then finally this little beauty. Okay, so they're the ones that I want to have in my project that we're doing. And so what I do is, first of all, I put together a little project bag with any, you know, bit of plastic food bag from Morrison's supermarket. The things I showed you on yesterday that I wanted to use in this project. I'm going to put my buttons in there now. So I put together a little project bag of little things. I mean, if I don't do this, if I'm just going to be putting some slow stitching or something, a bit of fabric or whatever in my junk journals, but if we do something specific like we're going to be doing over the next few weeks, I like to just keep my goodies together so that I've got a stash to pick from that I think will go with the theme and the colour scheme that I'm wanting to do. So that is my baggie for this project. Now, if I bring this little basket in, and I wanted to show this in better detail for Lucy because she just requested a closer detail at my coloured baggie that I showed when last time we slow stitched. I have about 3 or 4 of the general colours, so this is all bits and bobs that are white. Yes, so it's a bit difficult to show you inside these things on camera because of the glare, but this is all little bits of snippets that I might use in any projects. I've got some old cheesecloth, I've got some vintage lace and burlap there, so I've got a white one because I think, you know, you can always colour that with your inks or paint or something, or anything really. I have a black one. So I've got a selection of black things in here. I have some black sari silk. I've got some black cotton. I really do like black cotton. It's a good background. Some, you know, and in here I've put some of the stuff that I dyed ready for my Halloween project. And also I've just put a few, I know they're black and white, but a few little ruffles. You never know when you might need a ruffle. Bit of black and white lace, so that's my black one. This one actually is still left over from my Sew for the Soul project, which I've finished now, so this will probably now be emptied. Not much left in here. This will probably now be emptied and put back in where stuff lives. But this was all of a colourway, greens and oranges, yellows, and bits of sari trim. The big orange button, one of my faves, but I've not used it. So yeah, there's 2 big bits of material there. As I say, that will probably go away. And then I've got this one, which is just generally beige, creams, dyed tea and coffee, you know, tea dyed stuff, grungy stuff, and it's all sorts of materials. So there we have, we've got some cotton, we've got some linen, we've got some vintage handkerchief there that's been done, all sorts of bits of ribbons, and I don't have a deal of craft space. I've not got a massive craft room. Look, there's even some buttons in there. So I do find that doing a few things into some little colourways helps me out. Sorry, I'm banging you. Helps me out. I've just got a couple of bags to look through to find the perfect thing for a journal. You know, it's not always there. It's not everything that you want, but there's something on hand, because it's the same old thing, isn't it? If you don't have it on hand, you forget you've got it, you don't use it. Slurping my tea. It's a bit cold. Right, before we start, we'll look at threads. Now, this is probably a bit glary because this is my metallic little box with metallics in. And this is, you know, there's been collecting these for quite some while. Some of them are specifically for the machine. So like, and I always use Gutterman thread. It's sort of the best that I can afford. There's a make that's more superior than this that designers use. Can't remember what it's called. I heard if you watch Natasha Makes, I've mentioned natashamakes.com or Natasha Makes on YouTube. She uses this type of thread. I can't remember the make of it. It was quite expensive. She does have it on there, so if you're doing a special project, and I suppose it's like wedding dress makers and things like that they want, you know, the best of the best threads if they're spending hundreds of pounds on the material, you know. But I like Gutterman, and this is like metallic thread. Don't forget that you need to change your needle. If you are using metallic thread on your sewing machine, you need a metallic needle. It does make a difference. Metallic thread is notorious for coming unthreaded and splitting. Wait a minute. David's found Natasha's brand Aurifil. A-U-R-I-F-I-L. Aurifil. And she has some decent prices on there. But it's like her machine. She uses a Zuki sewing machine, which is thousands of pounds, which most of us can't afford. So I don't mind. I can get away sometimes with putting cheap thread in your bobbin. I've found that's a way to get round it, make it, you know, more cost effective. You don't tend to get so many problems if you use the cheaper thread in your lower bobbin and your better thread in the top. But anyway, I digress because we're on hand stitching. This is beautiful. DMC, but metallic thread. Gorgeous colours in that. Hoarding that. Then you obviously, you've got it on the reel. This is Madeira metallic embroidery thread. Madeira is a very good make of thread as well. Very good for hand embroidery. So there we are, that's that. And then this, I've got this little, well, it's big really. This is the thing that Von House, I got it off Amazon, and it is a bit bulky, I know, but it's got little pull-out drawers and it's portable. So what I tend to have in here are my thread. This is like my thread. Let me tip it up for you, so hopefully you can see that. So in the top, I tend to put my perlays. They're all, I've had these years and years, some of these. They're all getting a bit worn down now, I haven't got too many left. This tangle that I need to sort out, which is very naughty of me. Very good thread if you want some beautiful variegated thread floss for your projects. It's hand dyed and it's by Steph Francis. Beautiful thread, beautiful to work with. That's from a big piece that yeah, I'll show it you someday. A big piece that I had couple of years ago now. Started off in an exhibition in York and then went round Europe. The exhibition did, so I was quite very chuffed about that. Claim to fame. Then I've got some beautiful silk threads, and I got onto these recently because Sam Brooke mentioned silk threads. Beautiful silk threads. They're not the most inexpensive of threads to use, but yeah, I'm saving up and just buying them slowly, so you can buy them in small amounts, and you just buy them in colour palettes, and they're from Yarndale. Oh, I can't think what it's called now, where I bought them. I'll put it down below. It's a Yorkshire company. where I do get my linen threads from. My silk linen threads. Okay, so that then shuts in there, and then we've got this pull down thing with drawers in it. So let me move it out of the way now because it's getting in the way. But you've got pull out drawers, you know, so you just pull it out and take it where you need it. There's 4, yeah, 4. This one I just tend to put clips, bits and bobs, safety pins, clips in that one. This one I just put an assortment of DMC yarns that you can split up. There's a little bit of perlé in there. Basically I swap that round depending on what I'm working on. So they're easy enough to open. Sorry, there's a lot of glare about today. These are, there's a lovely lady on eBay, Pretty Penguin I think she's called. I will link her, and she does all the hard work for you. She sells this as linen. It's linen thread. I love working with linen, but it is a bit tough, especially if you're using it unwaxed. So linen thread, and she does it in small quantities, so you can just buy little packs, you know, so many meters or yards or whatever at a time. This is just some metallic gold. I didn't know where else to put it. Again, from my big piece that went on tour with Catherine. Well, it was a big exhibition. I was only a very minor part. And then needles. It's only recently I've started treating myself. I don't know why that's in there, but we could do with that. Started treating myself to some better needles. I got this. This is lovely for keeping your needles in. A Lady at Sewing beads. These aren't that fabulous? You can see that. It was in my sewing group, and I got this in the brand tub, Christmas brand tub. Do you have Secret Santa or whatever to keep your needles in? And that is great. So once I've opened the needle and started using it, it goes in there. Now, sashiko needles. I've recently started those. I love them. They are a little bit more pricey, but Clover makes them at a decent price. A little bit more pricey, but they are specially milled in Japan for strength and durability. And I think they're a bit kinder on your fingers. Still stab myself with the ends, mine, but and you can get them in all sorts of sizes. I've got these. These are some extra long ones. That is a needlepoint needle, very blunt end. So I've got a little selection there. These are tulip sashiko needles as well. So yeah, I'm just starting to treat myself to a little collection of those. So really it's a matter, it's like any of your stash, you're building up as you go along, aren't you? Right. Any questions about your stash, what you need, what you don't need? And get a variegated as well. So we're going to look at I know today I'm spending quite a bit of time going on supplies, but I just think it's important because not everybody knows, you know, what there is out there. This is quite a long needle. I find that a bit of a struggle, a bit too long. That's more for really slow stitching, that you know, you're weaving in and out. So I'm just going to get this one. It's like a medium range one. Take my glasses off so I can see what I am doing. Right, okay. Now, if there's any master needle people out there, needlecraft people who have, you know, they can do a degree actually here in the UK now for embroidery, hand embroidery. Just going to start with this. No idea. There's nothing worse than a blank piece of fabric, the same as a blank canvas, they say. But I'm just going to start to show you now. I'm hoping, I don't know if I need to put it up like that. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it like that. Right, okay. So we threaded our needle. Fortunately, I do put knots at the back. and I'm trying to put it in the best place to show you. I mean, you know, guys, this is a hobby, it's amateur. Best me and David could do. Okay, so try to zoom in a little bit. So obviously I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, Rachel's left-handed, and I think Melanie Sullivan's left-handed as well. So Melanie Sullivan, and Melanie Sullivan does a lot of embroidery, so go and check Melanie out. Okay, so I hold it, everybody does it slightly different I suppose, but I hold my thread like this. I hold it up, I put my needle, point the needle away from me and wrap it round. Now, if you like, I tend to hold it, the first wrap, just hold it so it don't go all over the place. And we'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just do 6. Now then, I've got these quite far up. I don't start moving it down my needle until I put my needle back in. Now, put your needle back in the same hole or as close as you can, and then that's when I take all the knots down to the end to as close as you can to the material where you're going to go back through. This is if you want to neat, French knots. I hold the thread in my left hand like that. I pull this through. You watch, it's not going to go through. Crikey, it's because I've got wadding on. That's why it's. Oh, crikey. That is well and truly stiff. What's the matter with it? That's it. It's gone. It's gone. And you just slowly pull it. And there you've got your knot. Okay. I'm not going to do as many this time because it's quite thick cotton. I suppose it depends this is my linen thread, and as I say, I wouldn't choose, if you're not au fait with doing French knots, I wouldn't choose linen unless it's well waxed. This isn't waxed at all, and you can see it's a bit tough. Anyway, I'm just going to show you some different threads as well, so you can see the different effect. So it's all about the different effects. Put your needle forward, 1, 2, 3. We're only doing 4 this time. Okay, then as I say, you put your needle back as near as you can, put your knots as near to where you're coming through as possible, and pull your needle through, which it doesn't want to do because it's linen. And there is your knot. Right, I'm going to change this because I'm just going to do a knot at the back, because it's the worst thing you can work with. Right, I think we'll mix a variegated. Now I love the variegated perlé. There's different thicknesses of perlé. This is quite a thin one. It's 12, thickness 12, and this is an 8. Let me try and show you the difference. The lower the number, the thicker. Okay. Variegated. Okay. Rachel does some sort of fancy knot that I still can't get the hang of how she does it. Right, okay, let's come up here. Oh, that feels better already. Okay, needle away. I find little things like this, I find the hoops are an annoyance. So that's 1. Oh, my knot's come through. Okay. So we've got our thread, we've got a needle pointed away from us. Wow! You'll make a thicker knot, you monkey, coming through when I don't want you to. Right, okay. Point your needle away. First one round, I'll then lock it with my finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I put my needle back in where we're going to be. Pull all the little knots close to the end, close together, and then pull through your fabric. And there's your knot. Okay, so you can see it's a little bit easier. Now with very fine, you might not want to do as many. Depends, if you want a wobbly knot, you want to give it some texture. But if you want just dainty and neat, put your needle away. First one, I'll just anchor it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold your thread. Point your needle through, take your knot right down to the end and pull your thread through. Sometimes you just got to be a bit patient with it, and there you've got a really dinky small knot. So up, you soon get the hang of it. Point your needle away. Your first knot, I hold it with my finger. 2, 3, 4. Hold your knot to the side, down where you're going through your needle, pull your knots to the end and pull through. The thing that I think, and I used to be awful at it, and the key is getting your knots really close when you're pulling it through. Now if you want to really, say you're doing I don't know, you're filling in a sheep, say, and you want the effect of its coat to be all woolly and tangly, then you don't have to be as neat with it. So you can 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to be as neat with it. You don't have to be right down at the bottom. Pull it. I'll try to be better. It can't be that messy. But can you see, you get more of a loose one. So let's do you. Hold it on. 1, 2, 3. Still take it down as far as you can, but not right to the end. And you get more of, look, can you see? I hope you can see that. You get more of a messy French knot. Now, I always used to think, because I'm of an age where and I've said this before when I first started the channel, my needlework teacher was awful. She's like an ogre. And we're talking in the 70s, where every knot had to be perfect. There was nothing like textile art and you know, you do everything in a free motion form. Everything had to be perfect. Every knot had to be the same size, and I just got myself in a state with it, because mine always used to end up like this, and she'd say, "Oh, Catherine Lund, look at that knot, it's awful, look at it, look at that loop, pull it out." And you know, that's enough to put you off for life. So now we can embrace it. I can make as many woolly coats as I want now. She's probably long gone now, that horrible woman she was. And again, so, yeah, so that's your French knot. So yeah, carry on doing a few of those. And I find these are my slow stitch. If I want to do something really relaxing, it's a lot easier without the hoop, I have to say. I had a French knots. I don't have to think about them, I just do them, I just love them. Okay, so that's the first one we've got, haven't we, in this project. This week, we'll get rid of that a minute. Look, you see, they're more trouble than they're worth. When you're doing small things, when you're doing big things, you sometimes need it. So I find, without the hoop, look, I find I just manipulate the fabric how I want. I'll just do that. Okay, hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take that down, move them to the bottom and through. And there you have it. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put my needle down, take your knots to the end. Pull through. Pull through. Okay, so that's the extra for this week, and the other one is couching. So let's do a bit of couching. I mean, we did a brief bit of couching before. Now, okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And I've just got a couple of bits out here. Just got to decide on my thread. Okay, so I've decided that these are two things that would be nice couched. Bit of actual twine, and this is some rolled up edging of some cheesecloth that I tea dyed. Okay, so couching is anything whatsoever that you want to secure down on a project. And like we did, was it last week? I can't remember, was it last week, where I couched down the edge of that plastic edging that I wanted to go in my journal, to, you know, just putting some couching at the on the bottom of a something that you want to add to your journal. So if you're doing a topper or something, or if you're doing a hand piece like this, you're going to be doing so what you need is, I need a couple of pins. I've got a couple of pins here. I find it easier really to pin things down. So this one, doesn't really matter how we place it, but I'm just going to pin that roughly where I want it, how I want that to go. I could say we want it to go like that. Okay, I tend to make most of these designs up as I go along. Now then, say you wanted this piece to go on the edge. We'll cut a bit of that off. Using my embroidery scissors through that, that's not good, is it? We might want to couch that on the end, just to give that an effect. Say you wanted that to hang out over a journal side. So we'll couch these two. Now, you can do it quite unobtrusively, so you can just use a small stitch, really, to blend in. You could use anything to blend in, thin embroidery floss, if you just want the star of the show to be whatever you're couching down. Or if you want it to be part of your design, you know, you can use something really bright and in your face if you want. So, you know, let's have a go with this. This might not want to be used as thread. This might be thread itself that needs to be couched, but we'll have a go. Because I always think, if you don't try these things, you never know if they're going to work, do you? She says trying to thread. Oh, yes, we've threaded it. It's unusual in my eyesight. Okay, let's have a go then. It's probably a bit flashy, this thread, for what to what I want these for. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my stitch up at the side of where we're starting, and I always secure it first. Not everybody does that. Some people don't go through because it can split it, but I always secure whatever I am couching by going through it. Now, from then on, you are just working over the top of what it is you're couching down. Don't pull it too tightly, just enough so it secures it in place. Don't split your thread from then on in, unless you're wanting it to be part of your design. And just keep working your way across like this. I hold it with my left hand. Sorry, my nails, I've been gluing. That Fabri-Tac doesn't half make a mess of your nails, doesn't it? Eh? And over. Now if you try to pull that, that's nice and secure now. It doesn't want to be pulled. Now, you might decide as you're going along, I don't fancy it being really straight. I fancy it going around the corner a little bit like this to mirror image something on here. So we can bend it as we go. So through, just manipulate your piece to wherever you want it and couch it in place. I really like this thread, it's really pretty. I haven't used this for years, probably because I thought it had split, but it's not doing, it's lovely. Okay, and down. Take all the other bits that are escaping out the way. Okay, just leave a nice even space, and again I just go slightly down on the diagonal because I just think it looks better slightly down on the diagonal, up and slightly down. Now we're going to make this go back this way, so I'll hold it in place like that, slightly down, slightly down. Sorry, I'm being quiet, I'm trying to concentrate so I don't stab my finger. Round the U-bend. Get out of the way, what? That's it. Okay. Now, because we've gone round this corner, I'm going to change now. I'm going to start again going this way because it just saves thread instead of you using too much on the back. Couch down, couch down. Right, going back, decided. We're going back, so I'll just whiz my material around just so I can handle it better really. So you can get a better grip on it. That was a bit far away, so I've moved my string up a bit because I moved it a bit too far out. I hope you can see this okay. I'm going to cut this off, it's getting up my nerves, it keeps getting in the way. There we go. Sorry, my knee, it's my knee. It's my knee that's knocking camera. You might change your mind. You're quite entitled to change your mind. We'll get as far as here and I think, oh, do you know what? I like that going round those French knots, and then I could fill it in with some more French knots. So, go back to this side and down. Just be careful you know you don't pucker your material up in the process, which is very easy to do. Now let's move this a bit because it's getting in the way. Okay. Nearly at the end now. So you can see I love couching. I think the possibilities are endless, and do you know just how pretty does this thread look? I just decided at the last minute, oh go on, let's give this a try, and I think that looks really nice. Right, I've come to the end. I just finish it by going through. The idea for some people, if you're a purist I think with embroidery, is that you should be able to pull it and it comes out of the stitches, but to me you've gone through all that, you don't want to pull it and it come out, do you? You don't want it to come out, that's why you're doing it. But yeah, so I just do, and you could even do a little cross stitch at the end, say, to well and truly anchor it down and it doesn't look messy. And there's your couching. That piece of couching done. Yeah, so there we go. there we go, that's Tuesday sewing. I've really enjoyed that. I'm going to carry on with this piece. I'm going to put some more French knots around here and we'll just see where it goes. Just have a play and just go with the flow. It doesn't matter, you don't have to. Sometimes if you want a specific design, you can draw some flowers on and you can fill it in or whatever. Fill an in stitch. But, you know, if you just want to relax and do a bit of sewing and have an overall idea of, you know, where you want these squares to go, like I have with my keepsake project, yeah, just sort of keep that in the back of your mind. But I really think that's lovely. I'm going to be putting it on everything now, aren't I, this? I haven't got a clue where I got it from. I bet I couldn't find it again. But I think that looks stunning when the light catches it. Absolutely gorgeous. Just from a bit of a scrap. Bit of a scrap of string. Okay then, everybody, thank you so much for spending time with me. A bit of a long one today. Hope it's been useful. Hope it's been useful to let you look, see what supplies and things that you've got to be able to enjoy this. And get going now with your first square. Any questions at all, please feel free to ask. Yeah, I'll do whatever I can, my best to answer for you. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, please do so. And much love to you all. Keep safe out there. Bye for now.